Alright, so our first game we're going to go through is Kingdom 18. This game is designed by Jason Glover, and it generally is for 2 players and takes about 10 minutes to play through a whole game. So you can actually, if you want to, go through a few of them pretty quickly. So just a quick note about this one. We actually recently implemented a couple of small balance changes, just some of the points that you get, and I think we may have changed 1 or 2 little card effect here or there, so those aren't going to be reflected in this version. You'll see some negative points that aren't actually in the final game, but all the playstyle and everything is still exactly the same. So I'm just going to crack open this hook box. Nice thing about these hook boxes, of course, and the reason that we're doing this is you get all your 18 cards in there, and then we have all the rules and some diagrams and everything laid out on the inside very nicely. So look for that in every single game. It keeps everything pretty well put together. So I'm just going to put these to the side for now. Alright, and inside we are going to have pretty much 2 types of cards, so we'll separate those out real fast. I apparently put these back in a really bonkers order, so let's just get those fixed real quick. Alright, there they are. So we have these 8 cards over here. These are the starting player hands, starting player decks, if you will. What's going to happen is each player is going to get their own set, 1 red and 1 blue. You will always have these cards inside your deck, and in the initial phases of the game, your hand will be made up of just these 4 cards. They're each going to have 2 abilities on them, which we'll go over in a second once we lay out the next set of cards. But what you're basically doing when you play these cards is choosing which of the 2 abilities you want to use at any given point, and then that's the one that's going to kick into effect. So we'll put these to the side for now, just so I can show you kind of how the game gets set up. The main thing in the game that we're going for are these realm cards. So we'll show one of those over there. It's a little bit of glare. Sorry about that. There we go. Each realm card has an ability, and on top it has a picture of the realm, generally mountainous with some trees, and a point value. So what we're doing over here when we have these cards is each one's going to have, as I said, there's the points. Right above it is sort of an affinity. So if you're playing symbols matching that type, so in this case that is a little war symbol, a little horse and a knight. If you play symbols matching that type, they're worth more power, they're worth more strength to take over the realm. And then the reverse side is an ability, because what happens is when you score these realm cards, you actually add them to your deck. So you shuffle them into your starting hand, basically, and then draw 4 brand new cards. So it's possible that you will lose out on one of your starting cards and instead gain some type of power. And again, we're playing around with some of the numbers on here, but generally speaking, some of them are good, some of them are bad. It kind of ties into how many points the card is worth. So what we do is we shuffle all these cards out, shuffle them up. These are 10 realm cards in total. We're going to place the deck down between the players, and then we would reveal the top 2 of these cards. So in this case, we have a realm that is worth -3 points, and it gives you an assassin action, which we'll talk about those in a second. It has an affinity to diplomacy, and then we have someone that's worth 6 points, which is on the higher end of what they could be worth. It gives you a war action, but only at power 1, and then it has an affinity to war. So what would happen, and of course I'm playing by myself on this one, so you know we kind of make some choices that we wouldn't in a real 2-player game, but what would happen is on our turn we're going to look at the sets of cards that we have over here and say, okay, which of these cards do I want to play on each one of these realms? At first we're going to put down 1 card on each face down. The one that we choose, the realm power that we choose, is going to face the card. So for example, if I wanted to use the strength of this war action over here, this 4 value war, I would face it that way. If I want to use the shield power, I would face it this way. And the goal is just to have the strongest representation on the realm that you're looking to win. We will be playing 2 cards on each, or sorry, 1 card, 2 cards total, 1 on each realm, flipping them over, revealing them, and then playing 1 more on each realm before we reveal those and then calculate the total. So let's say in this case I don't fully want to win something that's worth -3 points. So for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this realm card right here that is worth 2. This is a war, so I won't get the bonus. In this case, it has a little bonus for diplomacy. So this would just be worth 2 points there if I played it. Again, normally would play it face down like so. And then I really want to win this 6, so I'm going to go ahead and, with the red team over here, I'm going to play my 6 war on there, because that, with the bonus, will count as a total of 7 points. And that would give me a very big chance at victory. And then maybe we're doing something very similar on this card here. We'll get into some of the weird stuff. We end up doing something similar, and we'll see what kind of happens in a second with that. So we play these 4 cards, we would flip them up, we would reveal, oh look, both of us made the exact same choices. So currently we're tied at 6 plus 1 for each one. We're tied at 7 on each of these, and on this one we're tied at 2 each. If you're tied by the end of the round, initially we were playing it with leaving the card out, but we're actually recommending you shuffle it back into the deck, and then it has a chance of coming out again. Basically, we're going to play the game until all of these cards are gone, and then count up the total after that. So in this case, we'd still be tied, so kind of a position now where we have to make some moves here, try to figure things out. And what's going to let us kind of make some changes and give some more strategy to this is these 2 symbols over here, the shield and the assassin. So when either one of these are played, face against a power of a war-type power, or an assassin can get played with a diplomacy power. When they get played and match that, what effectively is going to happen is they are going to steal the power that that card would have and give it to the player that played either the shield or the assassin. So you're basically stealing the power from someone else. If you play this card and the other person doesn't play the corresponding type of a power, then you get no points at all. So, for example, if I wanted to, I could say, oh, I'm going to use that on this -3 power, if I don't, or the -3 realm here. So maybe I go ahead and I put my, let's say I put my dagger over here, for example, because I don't want any points there. Or, yeah, we'll do that. I don't want to get any points there, so I'm going to put the dagger there. And then let's say I think that somebody's going to try and put down some good, pretty strong war card. I'm going to play my shield over on that one and attempt to steal their power. So we're obviously playing this with some weird decision making, but just so we can kind of get through the game and get through some of the abilities. So in this case, let's assume that this person over here plays their war on this side, and then plays, we'll actually put the diplomacy on that side. So then we'd go through and again we'd reveal. So on the first realm, I played a dagger for an assassin. This person played diplomacy. So what would end up happening is I inadvertently have just stolen their power. So now, since these ones match up, I have 2 points from this first card, and then I would steal, this would be worth 4 plus the bonus for matching the symbol. This would be worth 5 points that I actually steal. So now the total for this red player is 7 on this first realm, and the total over here for the blue player would be 2. So at the end of the turn, the red player is basically going to score this card. And then when we flip these ones up, excuse me, I had a little bit of a cough. When we flip these ones up, we would see that, okay, we were tied before at 7. I've played a shield. This player has played a war. So again, that would get a bonus for being matching the symbol up here. That would count for 5 points, and because I played the shield opposite it, I would steal it. Had these cards been switched, like so, they both would be worth 0 points because they are not played matching up with the assassin and a diplomacy or the shield and a war. So they would be worth 0. So in this case, I would have given up this realm that's worth -3, which isn't so bad, but then I would really lose greatly on this realm that's worth 6. So essentially what's going to happen is after those are scored, they would go into the score pile of whatever player. Let's say in the way we have it set up right now, because I switched those cards, blue would have won. The blue team is then going to, the blue player is going to take their 4 starting cards and now shuffle in these realm cards. and the red player did not earn any realm cards, so essentially they're going to be able to take their 4 realm cards. They could shuffle them if they want, just if they like shuffling stuff, but they're basically going to have the same 4 cards and 8 total options to choose from. Now, however, we'll flip up 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, if we actually look at this starting hand, I have my value 6 power war or diplomacy, my value 2 power war or diplomacy, but now instead of having the option of a 4 and an assassin or a 4 and a shield, I have a value 1 war and I have an assassin. So my options are now limited. So you get the ability of maybe getting some more points, but now you have some less options to choose from, but the other player doesn't necessarily know what I have to work with, because I could have my 4 starting cards or I could have some other combination in between. So in this next round we'd have to go through and play with that. We would put out 2 brand new realms. In this case we have one that is worth 2 points and gives you a diplomacy of 5, which is actually pretty darn good, and this one is -3 and gives you a shield. So from this point on, we would again make choices. What do we want to play on what? The strategies can get pretty intense because you can sit there and try and bait people out. One common one that'll happen is, oh look, I really want to earn this one over here, let's say. So, you know, most people would say, well, I'm going to play my really strong, my very strong diplomacy on here to get the 1 point bonus. But if I know the other person has a dagger, they could possibly go through and steal that. So maybe instead of playing diplomacy, I put war on there, because I don't get the 1 point bonus, but now their dagger, their assassin, is going to count as 0, and mine's going to still count for 6 points. So you can get into some cool mind games with that, trying to predict people. Otherwise, once you get to the end of the game, you just go through, and for all of the realm cards that you've scored, let's say if this was what I had earned over the course of the game, I would have 6, -1 is 5, +4 is 9, and then -1 would be 8 points total as my score. Again, we decided to kind of take out some of the minus points. You know, negative scores are never the best thing in the world to have minus points. So we're going to rebalance a little bit. We've already tried it out. It already works great. But just if you look at the print and play, right now it'll have these point values on it, but we'll be updating that during the campaign. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, that's a pretty basic overview of how Kingdom 18 is going to go. It's a pretty cool game. Jason Glover designs a whole lot of awesome games, if you've ever played any of his stuff before. Just like he has Desolate now on the Game Crafter. He released countless games like Dig Down Dwarf, and even Button Shy released his game Stew recently. So he's doing pretty great, and I think this is another really fun one that he put out there.